And welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, here to day number 2 for week 3 of the North American ESL Pro League. We're getting ready to jump into our first map of the evening. It's going to be the guys from Misfits taking on Counterlogic Gaming, and it's going to be on the good old North American standard here on Cache. Favorite map for pretty much everybody in this region.
Is the second map going to be Cobble?
I actually don't have that info in front of me. However, that'd be a pretty good bet.
I think it is.
Oh, actually going to be Inferno is what we.
Is this the first time that we're seeing Inferno?
This will be the first time on the main stream, and actually, I don't think we've had any secondary matches since we switched up the map pool. So I think this will be the first time we see it all season. So that's another interesting piece here too.
You know, we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Is how I mentioned that a lot of North American teams, when they're so resistant to like change, right? When the best strategy that you could do, especially just as a region in the whole, when you're playing against Europeans, right? We're generally disadvantaged. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
So one of the best things you could do is, you know, have an even footing against the other teams and just start from scratch, right? So when a new map like Inferno comes out, I think everybody should be practicing. You know, when Nuke got redone, everybody should just be practicing it like crazy, because then you can get ahead and you know, maybe take maps off some of these European teams. But as a region, we always see Inferno comes out and then nobody plays it. You know, people are just so resistant to playing it until you really have to, right? And so now hopefully we're going to see Inferno start becoming more and more played, because it really is a good map. I enjoy it a lot, and I think that this new iteration is pretty good as well. It
seems to be a lot of fun just playing and whatnot casual, but we haven't really seen it played yet here in the North American Pro League, so it's going to be our nice first treat. I'm really interested to see how, because if I go back to when it was in the pool, and now that we have, you know, Shazam playing in this match here, from me recalling correctly, actually in the old Inferno, Shazam was actually quite a force to be reckoned with on T side.
Especially killing his teammates when they come from Banana. A great force to be
that's a bit of a stinger there from was that like two years ago?
I actually think like if I would just go off paper, I would actually think if, you know, I would definitely say Misfits is favored in this game, but if CLG has a better chance of winning a map, I would think it would be Inferno, because they're just more, you know, they have like very experienced players in Cutler and FNS who really know how to play the map properly. And you know, obviously many young players on Misfits might not have that same thing going for them, but Cutler and Ricky both, you know, chiming in with 2 kills right away. They have a double quad setup right now. So one guy's going to look to fight, one guy's going to look to hide. And then, oh, actually it's fence and quad, excuse me. But 2 outdoor, this should be cleaned up. This should be very difficult for Misfits to win the round, especially in a 3v5.
Yeah, Ricky fresh on the roster, hasn't even changed that logo yet. Already picking up a kill from inside of Checkers over there to start things off. Now the remaining 3 are going to try to execute. Relics finding one. He did spot FNS, that second player back there, dispatch to the first one. Sean is trying to hold back this guy over here in Forklift, but he's going to be unsuccessful in doing that. Cutler wraps his way back around. Sean still being able to pick up one more kill here with the Deagle. He did miss the player shifting back over there towards Forklift, and that is going to lead to his own death. Cutler finishes things off, and it's CLG and Cutler specifically with a 4K that go up onto the board to start off this match.
Yeah, Cutler with a great job around Highway, closing out that round. I mean, the smoke even missed a little bit, so they got a little lucky, in my opinion, that they were able to get outdoor, you know, unscathed like that, and even get that 1 kill on site. If anybody was Forklift, they would have got pretty easy kills. Not sure the general strategy for Misfits there. It looked like maybe they were just going to look for picks with that Deagle on Shazam, who probably, Shazam, in my opinion, might have the best pistol in North America. Like, that's how swift his pistol is. It's really steady. It's crazy good. And then they were just going to kind of have that fallback option where they will just smoke out, you know, Fork and 2 outdoor. Right, but you know, the picks don't go their way. Instant 3v5 makes it just so difficult to win in a situation like that. And now we're kind of seeing like the positioning that Ricky's going to play. You know, he's over towards B, I believe it was, and it looks like he's even the main B player. So this is like going to be completely new to him. When you're an opper, one of the most difficult roles to switch to would be like any type of a solo site player, and he's here all by himself at B. So the B exec is going to come. They're almost certainly going to be able to get the plant down at the very least. So we'll see how CLG reacts to this.
And Misfits just getting ready to basically just rush their way in here in an all-in attempt. Running down the timer a little bit first, but CLG are starting to shift more into that B-bomb site where they only had Ricky before. Cutler now moving away from his previous position to help out here. But it's from Heaven, so he will be a bit limited, although Ricky chiming in 1 through the smoke there from the tree room. Cutler's going to be able to spot a lot more. In fact, he sneaks one off there. They're still walking directly past, not being aware of the fact that there's a presence in Heaven. So they lose 2 on the way in. Twist also being dropped into 9 HP. Cutler's going to drop right in there. Does some good damage, but is unsuccessful in picking up a kill. Quickly after that, though, Koos is going to roll right in. Sean with some good positioning, but it's not going to lead to much else beyond that kill onto Ricky. As CLG do retake, and they'll have a path to their second round.
Yeah, and a full retake setup by CLG. If Misfits did a little bit better job of not getting picked off taking the site, I think they would have a really good chance of winning that round. But, no nades really coming out from Heaven. Ricky, either they peek spawn a little bit too early, or Ricky spam one through the smoke, gets that kill. And then Heaven not being covered, I mean, they're lucky that, they were even able to make it a 3v5 in that situation. I figured he probably would have been able to pick off 1 or 2 players.
Let's see here again, Kusta just executing players from up on top. The swift cleanup there, as unfortunately Misfits take very long to set that up. CLG got the second player. I think it was Cutler that went over there towards Heaven and was able to pick up 2 kills in the round. Now we go on to Misfits' third buy, and it's not going to be that great again. We have a couple upgraded pistols with some utility sitting on Sean. That's about it. Sick buying up armor behind his P250, but that's all we are going to see. CLG just again spreading themselves out pretty evenly across the map. A bit more of a heavy commitment this time over there towards the B-bomb site, as they have 2 sitting in checkers right from the get-go of things. Cutler specifically up in the vent, trying to prevent them from going out for fast mid control. And they've already also aggressed over there inside of A main too. You've got FNS in the position, so they know that they haven't gone for early control here. They have them controlled very nicely. And for Misfits here, they are going to have to try to work around that now as the time gets lower, and they do start to move in for a bit more map control in that direction.
Yeah, and Misfits, going into this round probably had a plan to, maybe get a couple kills and try to get the bomb down at the very least. But whenever you're on cash and you're on CT and you could push A main and get control, it changes the makeup of what the Ts want to do, right? All of a sudden, they have to adapt. They can't just pick and choose how they want to play. Ricky taking battles at B, so he keeps moving while crouched to lessen the chance of getting 1-deeked, and doing a really good job around there. Ethan on top of this roof, these are really easy kills generally on top of that roof. You see got the first one very, very early and easy, and now Cutler should finish out the rounds here from the vent.
Yeah, Cutler pushing himself back pretty quickly here. And Twist, unfortunately, on the chase, is going to get shot from the backside there by FNS. So, quick cleanup from CLG again. Relatively clean, too, so they should be in fairly good shape, with the exception of really 1 or 2 players that go for rebuys if we assume Misfits wins this first gun round, but that is yet to be seen, as we are going to be transitioning into it now.
Nice shot by Ricky. Yeah, whenever you're on that mid roof, anybody that peeks you from below, it's almost like a hard counter to it. You almost never lose that initial gun battle. Sometimes, as you saw, you can get traded, and you can definitely get flashed and pushed from maybe the roof area. But in general, you should always be able to get that first one on the floor, at the very least.
FNS will take up the position over here in the vents again. He may have to find himself in the action very, very quickly on. In fact, firing off for it, but he is going to get more support. In fact, possibly 2 players from the white box, although they pull back. But even in doing that, Sick is also lit pretty heavily there, down to 20 HP after they lose Twist. Kusta missing the first shot and also going down very quickly too. Leaves himself out in the open, and that's where Sean's going to be able to punish. Ethan has a great angle against possibly 2 players though, but he only realizes there is one of them there. Knocks out Sean. He did spot the second, but for now he's just going to let him pass. Still, huge advantage to CLG for this being a retake. 4v3. They've already done damage to some. Although, again, that's a bit aggressive there from Cutler. Swings right through the smoke. He does do some additional damage here, but is getting knocked out. However, again, CLG still in a good position here. 3v2. The guys on Misfits completely out of utility, and yeah, they're just going to systematically move back in here and shut down the remaining players, as they'll be able to pick up a 4th.
Yeah, very nice, not only mid-play, but retake, at A after Kusta goes down very early. Cutler, I think, getting a bit too aggressive there for obvious reasons, right? Going through that smoke. Had he been able to do it earlier before Shazam was really set up a quad, it would have been a good idea. But at that point in the round, you got to kind of just concede the plant and just make the retake even easier for your team. But CLG had a very impressive reaction to when mid was being taken. They immediately reacted to it. The Vents player spotted him, he hid, the highway players came and flashed, and then they all repeat together and collapsed on it, killing 1 player and then putting Sick at about 10 HP.
Kusta trying to push back in here. He does trade out a kill after Shazam picks one up, but now Kusta waiting to see if we're going to see a peek out from Squeaky here. He goes for it. He picks the frag. A little bit careful that Molotov as he's getting tagged from it a little bit, but although he escapes with low HP, he does escape. And only 2 kills to boot. He's brought it down to 4v3. Now Sick is going to try to change up the dynamic a little bit as he pushes his way up through highway. Has this control for free as CLG have pushed away from it. He'll have to be cautious if he does decide to push into the site itself, though, since FNS is sitting there. But as you can note, back over in the B halls, this is where the main push is actually happening. Twist along with Sean playing this one together. Sick actually does find his mark back over here, and he may have to find himself in a bit more of a battle out over there on the CT approach. That is where he will get taken down by Ricky. But now Misfits are actually giving up on this push over towards the B-bomb site. Instead, they're going back out to mid, which again, keep in mind, they got that control for free earlier. So CLG don't know exactly how much is hiding back out here. They have FNS hiding, but he's looking the wrong way towards A main, so it's a free kill for Sean. These last 2 should be able to walk right up to the site and plant the bomb, and we'll be in a 2v2 where CLG will have to retake again.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it should have came to that. I mean, they ran back to A as soon as Sick was getting that kill. He gets over aggressive at that white truck. And now I don't know if I agree with this. I think when you have that plant for A main, this highway boost is kind of unnecessary, because if he doesn't get this kill like right away, then I think CLG actually might be favored.
Well, we are going to see the push back in. Twist getting a massive spray in there, and it works out well. He takes down Ricky, and now one more remains. It's Cutler, even doing good damage to him, bringing him to 56 HP. But Cutler, that headshot, rolling it in nowhere, seemingly to take down Twist. We're down to a 1v1, relatively even HP. Cutler does have a kit, but he's out of utility, and now very, very low on time, as you can hear the bomb beeping away. He still hasn't found Sean yet, and even so, when Sean does find his mark against Cutler, he's going to win it out. Finally, Misfits go up onto the board on the 6th round, or excuse me, the 5th round, and they go 4-1 now.
Yeah, and I think that quad boost was still a mistake. Despite winning the round, you saw how close it actually got, because they weren't able to spot him there. And that Molotov missed, that first initial Molotov. If that Molotov wasn't poorly placed, they'd probably win that round, because they see both of them getting out of the boost. They know exactly where they are. They have another Molotov to counter, follow it up. Misfits now, though, wins that round. Now, this round is going to be a big swing round. If CLG can win this round, they could realistically go up 6-1 before Misfits is going to buy again. And Misfits can definitely, get back and almost tie this game if they win this round, putting CLG most likely on a save.
Just a straightforward AX keep, more than likely going to be coming out here with Twist watching the backside on Misfits. As we did see them boosting up, there was a tiny hole in that smoke that they tried to abuse. Unfortunately, when the smoke does fade, it's Shazam that's left in the open and right in the scope of Kusta. So he's going to be able to sink the first shot, knocking out Shazam, and it seems like this is going to be enough to push back Misfits for right now.
Yeah, and that's a great opening kill. I think that's a spot that's been punished, recently pretty often when you go on that Olaf little boost spot in the lockers. Everybody knows that if you kind of wide peek in front of the door, almost like when you go from red bin on the right and then you wide peek, you kill him, or if you're on that white box as well. Generally a pretty easy frag since the guy is so stationary and there's just an inherent peeker's advantage. Now FNS, the back checker, doesn't get checked. Only able to get one, though, and now we see what Cutler could do at that solo site, but the rotate is here so quickly. This is going to be difficult for Misfits to set up a proper post plant.
CLG have already also shown here, too. It's already been 3 or 4 retakes onto both bomb sites, respectively. So now we'll have to see if they can pull it off again, as they do have man advantage. They have superior utilities. We look at it, Sean only having an HE grenade. And there's 3 flashes and a smoke grenade to be used on CLG's side. However, they are also working on a flank here. First flashbang's gone in. Relics is aware of Ricky trying to push his way in on the backside, and he spots him there early on, but the spray is completely off. So Ricky finds his mark. Sean is still looking towards heaven there, so they don't even put up a fight at all. It's Ricky that grabs both of the kills, and it's another fairly clean retake from CLG.
Yeah, and the reason that was such a clean retake is that CLG, rotated so early on. That guy's sight can't get in any type of better position, right? He can't move at all, so he's stuck there. Really, the only thing they have to do is they have to figure out where that other player is, make sure he's an obtainable kill, and focus on him first and kind of figure it out, and then it makes the round so much easier.
You can see that again, the fight actually for control of the bomb site that ends up working out well initially there for Misfits, but unfortunately lose too many players in it, have to hold off the 2v3, and options are just too restrictive. So they lose their losing bonus as well, as they just pick one up and immediately drop the next one. And as we can see, as a result of that, they're back onto upgraded pistols. Only Twist is able to get armor. Already seeing Sean drop down to 17 HP here too. Ricky actually hiding in the pit this time, which is going to be very risky. And indeed, he only gets 1 kill before being taken down and really just overwhelmed by the remaining players' Misfits. Cutler has a good lineup though, so it's a quick 2-tap for him. Be able to find 6 Sean, and now also taking down Twist here. He wants to find that last one. Shazam in the bomb site, not going to be able to get much done, and it's a quick 6th for CLG.
Yeah, great job by Cutler after Ricky dies there. Only getting 1 kill, and they continue to do this setup where they just kind of leave Ricky B by himself, even with the rifle at the start of the round, and kind of just play more for a heavy mid and A control early in the round, and then kind of adapt to anything towards B. Ricky getting caught out that time, only able to get that 1 kill. But, Cutler comes in, saves the day pretty easily. There's no smoke spawn or anything like that, so not going to be able to do much there at B. Kusta getting very aggressive here, along with Cutler at mid-garage.
We can see Sick is prepared for this one, though. He's watching out for exactly this type of movement and immediately spots the kill on the Cutler. Aggression leads to really nothing besides spotting a player, and you're not going to be able to work much off of that intel either. That's a pretty usual spot to be playing at the beginning of this round, as Misfits are just aligned in the default, so nothing to be given away. But they will still try to play this aggressively. FNS is now going to go counter boost, and he's forced into it, actually, as the Molotov lands. Essentially perfect timing. It was either fall back or go for it there, and going for it did not really work out. Right at the beginning of the round, it was 3v5, but now Kusta is going to be able to catch Sick peeking He almost gets the second one onto the player trying to go over boost. He has a chance at it, but no, Twist gets the clothesline kill on Akusta, knocking him back down. Now it's a 4v2 with both the remaining CTs being spliced across the map. Ethan on the site is going to find himself in a big battle in a moment here. The Molotov may even send him back out. He tries to pick this, does have a good angle against Twist, gets that kill, but then flanked just a moment later by Relics. And all that's left is Ricky, as he does try to work his way over here. He may have himself a free kill against Sean if he's watching for it. No, he's not, so that's an easy one to grab. But these last two is going to be a bit too much for him to try and clutch out, so he is just going to fall back here and save the up.
Yeah, can we take a look at CLG's money? We want to see if, so they're going to be able to buy the next round, and Misfits only having these two guys alive, they're pretty much going to spend most of their money, most of their funds in this upcoming round. That means CLG's actually in a really good spot, because they, even though they're losing this round, Misfits only having two alive, and CLG going to be able to buy again here is going to, you know, give them an opportunity here to have a really, really big CT side half. And I do want to say, I'm not sure why Misfits just kept going on like that. Twist was actually, it looked like he was holding W when he hit that headshot on Akusta. I mean, in that situation, you don't have to force anything. You have a guy on the boost. If you just call for like a nade or a flash, or you simply kind of just avoid that guy, that should have been a 3v3 when Twist got that kill. And then again, the other thing I want to say here is that Sick always patrols around this mid garage area on Cash, and when you don't smoke it, it's like an immediate tell. And Sick is really experienced in that area, even though he is a young player. He's been, you know, battling around middle for a very long time now on Cash, and it's a tell. It's a tell for him, and he just hides and he waits for that push, and he gets a really, really easy frag onto the over-aggressive color.
Well, for Misfits, they do spread out again here. Well, just really tossing utility out into mid. 3 other players have already pushed into Squeaky, and in fact, they're right at the door. Sick is going to try to lurk his way out with his 2 teammates. Kusta's there for the first kill, quickly falling back to the other side, getting a second one now. Challenge looking for the third, but he's going to miss that one, and that spells doom for him. But now the cavalry's here. Ethan picking up 1 more kill for the CLG side of things, looking for more, but Relic is doing a good job of holding in the backside and even giving Sean time to position himself, although he might have been heard by Ethan jumping up on top of this forklift here. We'll have to see if he checks for it in a moment, as Sean is working his way back down below to look for the flank, but no, his opponent wrapped around the corner, so they have control of his A main staging area, even got the highway guy around to that, so the tables have flipped a little bit. Again though, still in control for CLG, 3v2. They do need to start moving. Sean finding one, gets the second, and now it's down to Ricky, and he's going to be taken down by Relics. Misfits hold 2v3, and they're going to pick up the round.
Yeah, they will. And Kusta did a really good job. Gets 2 kills, gets a pretty early call. Almost had a chance for a third one as well. So he did his job by far. And there wasn't even any smokes up. You see there's no smoke highway or anything like that. But his teammates are just so delayed in getting in position to really help him. I think Ethan was even able to get a kill on forklift. So that might have even been a 2v4.
So CLG being broken here, all we really see are just 1 upgraded pistol, sitting on Ethan there with a flashbang and a cheeky Zeus buy from Ricky, which will be fun if they do try to push towards Squeaky again. You can see him just kind of hanging out there, looking to surprise someone if they do open up that doorway. But it's just your basic default spread here for the most part from Misfits at the beginning of this round here. Not really looking to move into any sites just yet, nor are they creeping up on the position there. But they also, as we look towards the CT side again, they're remaining very mobile. We can already see a big shift in players. They did try to stack A initially to counter out a rush. Now they're sending up to 3 players. One may kind of hang around towards mid. They're sending up to 3 players over here towards the B-bomb site to watch out for that, and more towards your kind of default CT holding pattern right now. Misfits again, remaining very quiet themselves. We do see Sick lurking in mid here, trying to get some intel if he can. He's been unsuccessful so far, but this is also a lot of ground that he's just gotten for free in a moment. There you go. He's going to be able to pick up his first kill on the round. That's Ricky getting knocked out, and I'm sure there'll be more if the rest of the team decides to push back into this side. This is rather undefended. Oh, he even spins back around there at the last moment to take down Ethan. Brought very low. Kusta tries to hold a close corner. That's not going to pay off. Already down to 2 here, and both are sitting behind the truck angle, where they unfortunately won't be able to contribute too much here. As Relic peeks out, that's an easy kill to grab against Finesse, and now it's just Cutler way back over there towards Z.
Yeah, just going to see if he can get any type of exits. A lot of damage done to the Misfits players. Sick definitely shouldn't have been able to kill that player at White Truck. Doing that little 180 spin on that guy with the 5.7. But, you know, if CLG ends up losing this half, you know, and not putting more rounds on the board and getting, you know, 10 or so rounds, it's really going to end up being that 4v2 that they lost at that A site. After Kusta gets the 2 kills, Ethan kills the guy Fork and stays alive. I believe it was 2v4. It might have been 2v3. But at the same time, they had no utility on the T's. Sean Gares like gets behind them on the catwalk, just around that really should have gone CLG's way. And look at the ramifications of losing that round for CLG. They have to save. Misfits wins the next following round. round with 5 alive. They pick up Kusta's op. They have, you know, 4 grand a piece on everybody, 7 grand on one guy, so they're fully bought out, and they're like almost good for the rest of the half. And CLG, on the other hand, they don't have an op. And this is a team that, in my opinion, is pretty reliant on an op to really make their setups work. I think that's something that they really need and are comfortable with. And instead, you know, Misfits has a lot of momentum, and they're in position to really have a good half here.
Shazam tries to go for a positioning shot there early on in the round, out by Garage, but unfortunately it's hit with a barrel of nades, down, losing half of his HP already, so he'll just group up with the rest of the Misfits roster, who are now just positioned outside of B, as they're essentially just going to go for this one. Here's the thing, though. You look at CLG, they are also positioned in a pretty good spot to counter this out. They have 2 in the site, 1 in the vents, another one very close to the vents in mid, watching out for this one, too. So they've got a good lineup to just completely crush this, and we can see already Ricky finding the first kills. He again plays risky inside of the vents. His teammate's going to move outside, and we can just see this. Ricky out in the open. It doesn't even matter. Even when he's challenged without any ammo, his teammates are shutting it down. They do eventually lose 2 throughout the course of the round there. Kusa and Finesse going down, but still, Misfits don't really get far into the site or make any progress at all with that kind of take.
Yeah, and that was pretty poorly done, though. I mean, their strat got completely disjointed by 1 Molotov, essentially. Ricky threw that 1 Molotov, and nobody could capitalize off anything happening. FNS with the really... It's just kind of walking out of that smoke in the B-main flash. That was kind of humorous to see. But, you know, that just was not a very well done play by Misfits. Anytime 1 Molotov just completely shuts down your take, you know, it's probably not the greatest thing. I think if they're going to do that strat, they kind of need to, you know, maybe make other things happen on the other side of the map, because that rotate happens so quickly, or maybe bait out their nades a little bit beforehand, you know, before they go into it, because, again, 1 Molotov, all it took.
Well, we do have Misfits spread out again. Definitely not going to be trying anything direct as that anytime soon, although we do have players very forward. When we look at Relics, already sitting back over there inside of Squeaky, getting ready to deploy. Even opening the door here, too, so giving himself a smoke to work with. More going to cover off the cross, I imagine, in the second here, but they do molly out the door, which was left uncovered, so that will hold him back for a few extra moments here, and he'll give Ethan the time, if he wants to push forward here. Smoke's also covering the cross. They're still free to go back over there towards Red Box to watch out if the T's do decide to push forward against this one, but for right now, they're playing it safe. Molotov unfortunately gets wasted there as it's a little bit out of position, so it just fizzles into the smoke. Now as their own smokes have faded, they're going to push back in, but the CTs are set up, and again, 3 players already here. Ethan striking first, Ricky finding one, but gets traded afterwards. Shazam also being able to find Ethan before he can safely crossbind Forklift, and Cutler, again, also taken down on a cross by Twist, who swings out from quad. They're down to 2 who are still in the process of rotating, so they're going to be in kind of awkward positioning here as they do push back up, and now it's Misfits that have the man advantage. They are a bit low on utility, but the same story is true for CLG. Kusta having a molly, which you can use to try and burn Shazam out of position here, but it's even going to be risky to try and peek into that one. FNS will actually move in. He gets the free kill. That's Shazam gone down. Looking for more than this. Has not been able to take down the quad guy just yet. It's actually going to be Sick that returns the favor, and now it's down to Kusta in a 1v1. He knows where Sick is playing from, but the same is true in the reverse side of things. Kusta pops the flash in the corner. Does affect him, but no! Cannot find the shot, and Sick clutches it out, giving Misfits another round.
Yeah, and Sick with a nice clutch there at the end of that. I thought FNS might have been able to win that round, because when he came outdoors, Sick had to be right side of quad. He wasn't facing door at all, and that kind of gave an opportunity for Kusta to, I believe it was Kusta on the rotate at the end there, to maybe win that round, but instead they are on a save, 7-5. And another big swing round going Misfits' way. So that's 2 now that they won that were very crucial, important rounds to really put them back into this game.
So we do have CLG just going for a gamble stack now as they are back onto another eco here. Over to the B site they'll go, and it's very quickly for Twist again as he moves directly over here and is going to be, you know, not showing any signs of slowing at all when he does get into kind of the dangerous area here at the edge of highway. So he's going to find out very quickly that the A site is essentially open for business. Some of the more dangerous areas, like back in quad, his teammates will have to check, but they're going to realize that this site is essentially open, easy to push back into if they want to take the bomb into it. So this gamble stack has failed, and we probably won't see much else be happening in this round. It's a pretty easy 6 for the Misfits.
Yeah, they'll just plant the bomb. Nothing CLG could really do in this scenario. But Misfits showing, you know, a couple different looks, right? They went 5-man towards B. It didn't work out. Then they kind of 5-man A, and it did. But you know, having said that, once you on that A site, I think the big turning point is when you kind of concede that forklift position to Shazam, and you don't really have an you know, an idea of how you're going to push that guy back. Because once an operator gets the forklift at the A site, I mean, even if it's a rifle, right? Anytime you're going up truck wall, any type of well-timed flashes really just ruins your day, right? As Sean Garrison gets 3. And now Rogue's going to chase probably the 4th and the 5th. Goose is going to try to save this AK, and it looks like he probably will be able to. But once you can see that forklift position at A site, it's such a powerful close-line position. You really have to have a well-thought-out game plan in order to push that guy off. Because like I said, a flash from sight, you could peek, kill anybody truck wall completely blind. Especially when you have an op, you could one-way the smoke and go above it to kill, white truck. So what I like to do is I think if you kind of wait for somebody to flank, you kind of put a little bit of pressure on them. They have to look behind them at A main, maybe worry about door like we saw. And then that means that Cutler, when he died to Twisted Quad, he needs to fall back. He needs to play more passive. Then wait for FNS to flank that door, and then all of a sudden, you could, win that round.
Twist, in the meantime, being spotted out very early on here due to an extremely aggressive push from Cutler. Goes directly to the back of the B halls and will catch Twist with a nade in hand. So it's an easy kill for him, and it gives CLG a nice and early man advantage to work with here. Now Misfits will have to adjust for that. Originally, we're set up for, again, a very basic execute in towards A, as we have been seeing throughout a lot of this half so far. But now the plans are going to change a little bit since they have lost B halls control. They do need to be cautious in case they get aggressive in mid or decide to push all the way through in those B halls. Actually, though, it does appear as so they are going to give up on A main completely and wrap around to try and push their way through these halls and counteract the aggression we saw earlier. They know they have that aggression from Cutler, but beyond him, it is only going to be him and Ricky, I think, playing on the side. Excuse me, no. Him and Finesse playing into that side. Ricky has changed up his position a little bit. He's the one that got aggressive towards mid there, and they were watching out for that moments ago, but now it's back to them as they chose to regress over there inside of the B halls instead. So it's allowed them to pick up the kill, and now they're just going to get torn apart here. Ricky finding another pickup here. Sick being able to respond. Ricky trying to go long range a little bit there, which won't really work out. He'll be taken down by Sean. Ultimately, though, Sean is actually able to keep himself alive in this situation. Gets himself up to the site, gets control here, and will be able to get the plant, but now he's alone in the 1v2. He's actually smoked himself off a little bit there too on peeking towards that left side, but he can still work out back over here behind these barrels. He just won't really be able to check for a tree room push very well. No one from CLG moving out into the open just yet. And Sean also looking away here too, as we do see Ethan going out to peek. Moving further into the site. Sean's going to be able to hear that though when they don't check his position immediately. Sean finding one, but is not going to have anywhere near enough time to be able to recover as Ethan is sitting just meters behind him, where it will be very easy for them to close out and now take control of their lead once again as they go up 8-6.
Yeah, and Sean could have won that, but that first kill just didn't come clean enough. The player jumping onto headshot made it pretty difficult for him. And I'm actually surprised that they got that far into the site. They had 3 players there. There's no spawn smoke, no heaven smoke. They kind of have to check every single spot, around that B site. So it's really difficult to take. So yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that they were even able to get that into a 1v2. But having said that, CLG is quietly putting together a pretty good half. They're definitely favored to win this round. They have a double op setup, 2 Tech 9s on Misfits, and we'll see what they opt for. They smoke off the highway, but it's a bit of a botched smoke. So not sure how much that's going to help them. And CLG has this read pretty well. I mean, there's only 1 player towards B. He's opting very aggressive, and now this is going to be a tough take for Misfits to accomplish anything here.
Finesse is even waiting for a counter boost there too, so he has a really good, or just waiting for regular boost there. He has a really good position to try and open up a really early flank against Misfits when they do go into the site, and now they're getting prepped for it. Smoke is covered eyeing off the cross there a little bit, so it's 1-1, now 2-1 in the favor of Misfits on the way back into the site. Cutler again in a very aggressive position up on top of the shed there, but he does find an additional kill, evening this out once more. As mentioned previously though, Ricky already having a flank to work with here as he can push himself into the backside of things and immediately try to re-execute out through A main. He's going to push for it. Shazam also trying to check over here as well, but focusing a lot more on this highway push as he's hiding in this corner. He's going to sink the first shot, now down to 2. Missing that shot, we're back to an even 2v2 now, as Sean still holding his teammate. They're playing it together, but Finesse spraying through the smoke, takes down Sean, eliminating him. And now it's up to Twist to clutch 1v2. He did see Ricky, but the same in reverse was true. Finding that first kill, though, there's one more to go in FS. He pulls it off, and it's Twist with the 2v1 clutch that'll bring Misfits back. We have ourselves a close game, ladies and gentlemen. It's 7-8. Stick around for the second half, coming up in just a few moments.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
And welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen. We are live again with day number 2 here for week 3 of the ESL Pro League in North America, in the midst of our first map here between Misfits and CLG on Couch. It's a very close one, 8-7. And it's been it was an interesting first half, wasn't it, Dazed?
Yeah, I thought so. I think like setup-wise and strategy-wise, CLG actually really outplayed Misfits. I think there was a like if you just looked at the mini map, you know, like throughout that game, I think you would have thought, hey, CLG probably could have won quite a few more rounds, especially because a couple of those rounds that I thought they were going to win, positionally speaking, just based off that, they didn't really, you know, execute properly on, and because of that they lost like a swing round here or there. I think that easily could have been an 11-4 half for CLG, but now they are on the T side, and if they win this pistol round, they're going to take a huge lead. But Misfits Twist, he spots him right away. He has a player in CT spawn, he has another player coming from vent, so they're very heavily stacked here.
And Twist getting ready for it here. 3, now 4. It's 4 for 2 ultimately at the end of the day, and all that's left alive is Finesse sitting over here in the back of Checkers. He's not going to be able to hold for very long, and it's Misfits that for the most part just crush CLG as they try to go for a fast B play that really doesn't work out.
Yeah, and they don't, you know, put any pressure on any other sides of the maps. The spot comes very quickly on, so that player gets in vents super early. Then they have that player in spawn just, you know, teeing off, and you know, once he gets smoked out, he's still spamming through the smoke. It's still dangerous. CLG gets kind of destroyed there, and I think whoever won that pistol was going to be a big favorite. I don't know if I am too sold on this CLG T side. We'll see. But, you know, early kills going on, and CLG getting the better of them. They tried pushing a main with 3 players, and this is actually exactly what CLG did on their CT side, except they didn't meet resistance. Shazam, great shot onto Cutler to even it out to a 3v3. But those 2 kills in A main, that's what CLG did on their CT side, but Misfits was overplay. You know, they weren't covering it, right? Remember, FNS had that A main control on these anti-ecos. So they're taking a little bit from their playbook.
Now, CLG is grouping up in mid currently, while still keeping Finesse inside to watch out for a main. Sean is going to be positioned behind the white box in mid to watch out for a play should they go for this. So it'll get a little bit dangerous for CLG if they do decide to follow through and push all the way up. Try to go for some sort of a pinch through mid and highway there, but he actually gets distracted a little bit, but turning back, finding the first and second kills. That's also the bomb, so now it is down to just Finesse, and he had just been spotted by Shazam there too, so they know where he's playing from, and they can sit back and try to take this round passively to look for a safe dual peek to be able to take him down. Already tagging him once and then rolling right back out with a headshot to finish things off. It's Misfits that will take the lead now.
Man, that was a little bit dangerous. If they would have had that timing at highway just a little bit better, I think they catch Sean Gares there. And Shazam hits a great shot onto Cutler. Usually the player on the boost, when you have a deagle there, you usually crouch and you go to the right. If you're on Shazam's point of view, it's farther to the left, and you kind of put your head in between that gap of the metal and the white box. And it's a really tough shot to hit if you're a CT. I think Cutler misplayed that a little bit. He was more exposed than he needed to be, and it made it a much easier shot for Shazam.
Well, now we do have on their full eco round here. CLG are just going to try to do what they did on the pistol here, which is force their way into the B-bomb site. Everybody kind of creeping up on it right now. Thankfully for them, no one on Misfits got super aggressive in mid or anything, but they also do have a close setup here on B to try and crush this pretty easily. Twist spotting it, but actually misses a lot of his first volley here. He is going to be able to pick up 2 kills, though. They don't actually realize where he's playing from until a couple seconds later. They wrap it back around and take him down, for he already picked up 2 kills. Shazam finding 1 more. CLG themselves are down to 2 players, and what's even worse is they're stuck in Checkers currently, so all the progress they made to get out onto the site is destroyed a few seconds later, and Misfits do take it without too much conflict. I think they only lose Twists along the way.
Yeah, and he only had an ump, so it's not too big of a deal. But now Misfits on this 4th round gun round, this very important round. You expect the 14-year-old to react a little bit quicker than that, I would think, right? I remember one time on my stream, I had like a bug in my browser, and I was doing the reaction testing, and it was like 800 milliseconds was what it said. So, and still to this day, everyone says I have 800 millisecond reactions.
Well, we do have CLG again holding up into basically the default pattern here. Misfits will actually, you know, work out aggressively here inside of A main, and it pays off for them. Sean pushing in, being able to find Finesse, and a huge volley of nades as well. Will bring Kusta down to 16 HP, so certainly not doing them any additional favors. being able to move back in here, just take his utility and everything like that as well. So for CLG, unfortunately not the best start they're looking at here. And Misfits already having aggressive control of A main, preventing them from getting anything there is going to be a huge ticket for them. Sean still watching out too. He's going to be able to more than likely get a close spot. He hasn't gone for the full peak, so he's not going to realize that there's this boost action yet. There's also no presence for Misfits sitting over there inside of the boost up position, so he'll get this intel a little bit late, but we have seen Ethan go out. However, that shot should have just given him away to a certain degree. Sean will certainly be paying closer attention to things now as Ethan gets right up behind the other side of that box. And as he swings himself forward here up to the corner, they're going to boost Cutler over, but no, Sean's not ready for it, and Cutler gets the immediate headshot to take him back down. They do end up wasting a Molotov there inside of Z, but it's a little consequences. Now they need to move back in and try to get control over here onto the site. So they're getting low on time, only 30 seconds left, and I believe the Siege is Molly back out on the highway. That's going to delay them out even further, so in they go, and they are not going to have a whole lot to work with here. They also don't have a whole lot of intel in terms of what's actually in that site. They strike first, they strike second as well. Relics and Sick both going down. Shazam and Twister are a pretty long rotate away, so in all honesty, this is probably going to be called as a save.
Yeah, and double op rotate. I'm just kind of very confused on why Misfits had a double op B setup, and even third player, it wasn't even White Truck immediately. Why did they have such a read that it was going to be B? I have no idea. They definitely should have been overplaying A way more, and I think, you know, they started out the round great with that A main push, but that boost was pretty awesome, man. When they boosted over the highway box like that, really caught Sean off guard. That's not typical. I thought when I was watching, you know, Sean Garrett's there, I thought for sure he was going to get 2 kills. You know, that first one at that angle just would probably be a freebie, and then I think the second kill would be pretty difficult as well. Maybe he would have had a teammate flash for him even from the A site. But yeah, that boost was pretty smart, I gotta say.
Yeah, the aggressive control I think that they got earlier on in A main may have discouraged or put a thought in the mind of Misfits that maybe CLG just weren't even going to try for that site at all and shifted over towards B. So unfortunately, they overplayed and things work out for CLG as they do end up getting that mid control there and are able to overwhelm Misfits, not even allowing for the rotations to be a factor. This time, though, Misfits are going to get still keeping to the aggression here. As we can see, Twist just going inside of Squeaky, waiting to see if he can catch him when he does dodge the flashbang into a nice angle there. There's no fault from CLG currently. Cutler's going to be sneaking back in, and Twist sinks the shot beautifully, even has a smoke to support his fall back over to Quad. The rest of them as well, though, still sitting at the gates of A main, now stunted a little bit as they have lost Cutler, but they will move back in. Nobody checking over here towards the forklift at the beginning of it, so Relics is going to be able to get his first kill for free, but then trades out, he loses his life as he's traded back out just a few moments later. Twist still sitting in the back here, still going to be an overall nuisance, and now the double op setup is covering both sides of the cross currently, so there's really no room at all for CLG to work with, and ultimately Misfits do shut the rest of that push down.
Yeah, and Cutler, I don't think he heard the door open. I think the spawn was too good by Twist. I don't think the spawn was too good. So it seemed like he was playing like he might have known he was there, but then he might have felt pressured to start pushing up because his teammates were getting, you know, in position to actually take A. But CLG just straight up went 5A. I'm not even sure how many nades they threw at middle or anything like that. So it was a very telegraphed play. The rotate came, you know, extremely quickly, and the thing is, Twist not only got that entry, but he stayed alive for such a long time, and when that site player is alive, it makes it really difficult as a tease, because if that site player is just staying alive that entire time, you have to have somebody watching it, you have to consistently worry about him wide peeking and things of that nature, and it makes it so difficult for you to actually enter the site, right? Because you have so many angles that you really do have to worry about. I mean, there's just, and that's why a lot of people at A on Cash, when the site's getting taken in like 4v4s and stuff, you see them push the forklift very quickly or push through the smoke and try to kill the guys coming site. That's like the fork smoke. It's because there's so many places to watch. You have to watch site, you probably have somebody in A main, you have to watch the catwalk, you have to watch highway, you have to watch so many positions.
Well, in will come CLG as they do just try to rush their way through the B halls and ultimately shut back down Sean, Twish, Shazam, and Sean, all contributing here to the defeat of CLG, as again, they've tried to go for a forced play into the B bomb site, and much like many rounds in the past, it has not gone well for them. Cutler is left as the last man standing in a 1v4, and he basically has nothing to work with, just the deagle, no utility, not even having armor, and he doesn't even have the bomb in his arsenal there too. So Sick will take him down, and there you go. Misfits back at the 12, really starting to get that lead back into their control and getting it into a very commanding position as we get very late into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And they did a similar take to what we saw Misfit, those were pretty much the same smokes that we saw before. I'm not sure if Misfits smoked the entrance themselves or if that was something that CLG did, but they kind of came through the smoke earlier than what we saw Misfits. I know it was an eco, but still, I believe they're going to take a pause here, kind of talk things over, but it hasn't looked great. They haven't gotten much going for themselves here on this T side.
CLG getting themselves the pause. Their first tactical pause being used so far today. So needing to take a minute to figure out exactly what is going wrong and reset themselves as, again, this T side really has not been working out for them all that much. They've had, the real problem is that they, again, the strats have really been very straightforward. It's only been 2 or 3 things that they've been trying, and it's been a pretty easy pattern to read for Misfits in that regard.
No, absolutely. They haven't really, like, spread across the map, you know, taking it slowly and methodically. We haven't really seen anything like that. A lot of it's just been like direct contact so far, but it is still early on in the half. It is a little bit worrisome though, because if Misfits is, you know, even if they lose this round, they're going to be able to buy the next round, and their money's getting pretty good right now. So Misfits, you know, they're having a good CT side right now. They're having a good half, and we'll see if they show them other looks. It looks like they will. I think it's going to be an A retake setup. Relix is at the car. They have a double highway setup. Pretty aggressive opping at B by Twist, and that's kind of going to send Sean Gares over for a pretty early rotate as well. Maybe getting boosted out in the vents, or he decides to hide back checkers.
The nade in the backside, but unfortunately not connecting very well. Now he's got to get ready for this push. Gets the molly out just in the nick of time, but is not prepared for the push itself. Goes down immediately, although he does do decent damage to Ethan. Following that up, though, Cutler with a scoped in gun is going to move it out to take down 6. So for Misfits, they're already looking at 3 players, one of which, after being hit by a nade, is now below 50 HP. 2 of them, technically now, both the Oppers are down at that health pool, so there's not really a whole lot of room for them to actually retake this, and I'm pretty sure they're just going to fall back and save. The take happens too quickly, and it just won't be plausible for them to get back into this site. Although Shazam does actually sneak off that kill on Acoustic as he tries to hunt down any players that would be remaining on highway here.
Yeah, it'll still be a save, but, you know, a little bit confusion, I think, for Misfits. I mean, they started out in an A retake, and then all of a sudden, Relix comes towards A, kind of gets caught out in a position, and it just makes the timings a lot different. Like, right when he threw that A main nade, they were already coming out and getting ready to, you know, come out of the door, and he's just a half millisecond off from that Molotov at, you know, crossing sight. But I will say that's the 3rd time so far this game that we've seen Relix struggle in these up-close battles, where we saw him at Forklift, miss that kill, we saw him miss that kill, and then I think we saw one, can't quite remember where else, maybe at B. But battles that you think he's going to win, and he seems advantaged for, and just kind of missing them. So it seems like to me, Relix is kind of one of those players where he's pretty good when he's like set up and he kind of, you know, have his time to angle up on the angle, but in those chaotic situations where people are just flying at him, it doesn't seem like he's able to connect in those areas right now.
Well, CLG again spreading out into essentially just a default here for the 8th round on the half. Misfits actually a little bit forward, specifically looking at Twist there in the B halls. It was pushed out there, looking to see if we could catch anyone from CLG, trying to go for that force play again that we've seen them already try like 3 or 4 times in the half, but won't be spotting it, so he'll just fall back into a pretty usual spot here on the B site to watch out. Meantime, looking at CLG, they are finally going to start to make some moves here to take map control, but unfortunately, yeah, the nade's going to go right deep there to be able to hit FNS and Cutler. I believe Koost as well for almost max damage on all 3 of them. Cutler
134 damage nade. Jesus.
So pretty much destroying 3 players as health pools, and now this will put a damper on their plans a little bit. Still going after that mid control though, as we can see Cutler forward about this one, moving into the vents there too. While the other 2 are stuck over there towards Squeaky and A main, so this will lead itself into another A execute as they hesitantly wrap around. They need to move in here somewhat quickly as time is getting low. 35 seconds to be able to actually get onto the site, kill anyone that's hiding out here, which again, they really know nothing about currently, along with getting that bomb onto the ground. So in they go, past Toxic, and these are easy frags for Cutler initially, however, or excuse me, for Relix initially, but Cutler trades 1 and Sick up on top. Beautiful spray transfer to be able to take down Ricky and Kusta. Cutler's still up and rolling with the scoped gun, and he's got Sick very low. Ethan's going to finish off the job there. It's down to a 2v2, but the CTs are coming in very quickly. Cutler can hear it, but no, Sean swipes past and grabs the headshot against him. So it's down to Ethan to clutch and find a 3K. He does spot the player, pushing his way back over here towards Highway. It spots him again as he gets close up there. Tagged a little bit, down to 83. Twist is going to try to push him, but he's focusing so much on Sean right now. Gets that kill and still has half a clip to work with here. Twist, though, is trying to wrap around the backside. Currently, Ethan doesn't even see it. He turns around at the last moment, but it is too late. And Twist will save the round for Misfits as they'll push their way up to 13.
Yeah, and I will say this Misfits CT side, like that's, again, like positionally speaking, Misfits should not have won that round. Relic's getting that 1 kill is great, but Six not in position to really do more than that. He should have died earlier than I think he did, but nobody checks his spot. That's a spot that if you're a door player, you should be checking. You should be jumping across that angle, and you're able to see that every time, and it's like a free kill if you do it. It's just it should be part of your checklist, right? They don't check it, he gets super-fragged, but their third player, like the player who's playing that swing position, was all the way past Z. He was towards B. Again, they were doing this B read, and the A hit came. So CLG, in my opinion, has really outpositioned Misfits, but they're never able to capitalize on it or execute, well on it. And I do have to say, if Misfits is going to play like that, where they're just going to give CLG anything they want at post mid control and not get aggressive on any other part of the map or do anything like that, I don't think that's going to, yeah, you're beating CLG and you won that round versus them, but as this B take happens, I don't think that's going to be a recipe for success against a lot of teams.
Twist getting ready up on the platform, but he is immediately shut down by Ethan. There is a response from Sick, and it's all over the place, but at the end of the day, it's left down to Sean as the last player that's alive, and it's CLG that do push through and win things out there. Misfits just try to hold on in contact, but Ethan goes off, gets a nice 3K, and allows for CLG to push up to their 11th round.
Yeah, that was a very important round. Forcing Misfits most likely on a save. We'll see if they save and buy next, or if they're just going to double save and really get a lot of utility on the board and let CLG tie the game up, which in my opinion would definitely favor CLG and put them in the driver's seat of this game. But having said that, back to my original statement that I was saying before, is just that the way they're set up there, yeah, like they could win the round against CLG. But I'm telling you, if they were playing, even Cloud9 or Liquid in that situation, they're not going to win that round. Like, they're going to lose that round 9 out of 10 times when they just let them do whatever they want post-mid control. It's just not a good way to play Cash.
Well, we do have Misfits that are going to try to get a little bit more aggressive, mainly for info prodding here. So we'll take a look at Sick, kind of going in and out of A main, and has not been able to spot all that much just yet. Kusta kind of trying to look for the same thing there, back towards A main, but not much being found out as they just hold again into the default pattern here. Since Misfits are going to be broken, they want to be a bit cautious to make sure they don't get surprised by anything. They tried to play it aggressively. Molly out into the vents to try and dispatch of any player that would be holding there, or force them out into mid where they could more easily take them down. However, it does not look like CLG are actually going to follow this up with any sort of mid control at all. But the good news is for Misfits fans out there is that they have a big stack over here on the A-bomb, so that may prove to be a little bit tough to deal with if they don't expect this heavy of an amount of players to be here. Sick, though, was the point man here for A-man. He was already out in the open, so he's easy to take back down. It's the site they've got to worry about here. They go 1-for-1 there. Relic sneaking in 1 kill at NBK. Now Cutler's up in front. Him and Ricky do dispatch with the remaining players of Misfits and ultimately take control of the round while only losing 1 or 2 of their own players. And now we are within 1 round of a tie game again.
Yeah, Misfits basically with a full save there. So they should full save here. But like, this is what I don't like to see, because this to me makes no sense, right? If you're gonna, have this type of a buy, I know it's not much, but why do it this round and not the round before? Because if you're putting the investment into this round, why not do it the round before? Because then if you win the round before, obviously you just deny them of that money, of you not spending any money, right? You're just giving them a round to just have for free, essentially, and then contest the next round. It just does not make any sense, like, economically speaking, right? Not only that, if you did it the round before, maybe you get a couple guns down, which you could take into this next round that you're saving again, and then maybe, do something with, or get a couple more kills on the board, right? It just doesn't make any sense. This is like my pet peeve, Boo, when people do this. It doesn't make any sense. You have to think about it like that.
Well, with CLG back into having a heavy advantage in this round due to Misfits choosing to go for still a pretty light buy here. Again, just those upgraded pistols and only 1 player having armor to work with. It's, again, free mid control here, too. Misfits, at the moment, are not challenging anything at all. They're going to let CLG walk directly out. Smoking out Z will prevent anyone from surprising there. And we're not seeing anything close to highway control. The good news is, again, Misfits have the appropriate read on this one. The 4 stack towards B, only keeping Sick to watch out over there towards A. So Cutler's going to walk into a Hornet's Nest if he follows through too quickly here. Pushing back in, looking for a player headshot. First, he's found one, but he can't connect the shots. And 2 for 1 on the way back in. 3 for 2 now in the favor of Misfits. Twists and Sean are the ones going off here, being able to hold on to this one. They are being cautious of a player, Sick specifically, that may push in on the backside there to shut them back down. It seems he's dispatched of most of them as they were trying to transition into the vents, and they weren't fully aware of it. So now, over here inside of the B-bomb site, well, Twist is actually going to go down pretty quickly, and we do have Relics along with Sick trying to work their way in on the backside there. It's Sick leading the charge here, but Cutler trying to hold. He does get him down very low, but keep in mind it's a 1v2 and he only has 8 seconds left. I think Relix realizes this and he's going to be hanging back, just watching for the cross there. He bails out, and there's no longer enough time for Cutler to be able to find the plant, so time's going to run out, and Misfits will end up winning it out here. Cutler gets that kill, but that matters very little, as Misfits will be able to push ahead now to 14-12.
Yeah, and think about it. If they would have bought and they would have won the round before because of like the investment that they put into this round, they probably would have just won the game. Because CLG would be on a save and it would be, you know, 14-11, right? Because you wouldn't have gave them that round and they would have been all on Tech 9s and umps. You know, maybe like 1 AK. So that's kind of like my point. If you're going to go try to win the round, then try to win it earlier.
For now, it does keep them in check as their investment rolls in. CLG, however, do have another one up their sleeve as they still have 4 AKs. Utility's a bit limited on certain players here, but as well, Acoustic gets himself the op to work with here, and they're going to deny early pressure inside of AMA through the Molotov here. Finesse will lose about a quarter of HP. Again, though, CLG still just lined up into the default here, nothing being done yet, but once more, because they choose not to take initial AMA pressure, no, actually, I'm going to take everything I was about to say back as Kusta walks right in and catches Sean looking the other way. So the smoke fades away, and the Molotov, more importantly, fades away, and they aren't able to hold it. Now they're going to move in and take control. Kusta does get hit with that nade down to 55 HP, but the pressure's going to roll, and all the A defenses are stuck over here by the forklift right now, so they're going to push back in. Sick doesn't get anything done. Relix is available for a trade, but now he's got to be cautious. They're all going to be coming in a moment. He does the rotations, but they're still about 5 seconds away, and no, Relix misjudges his position. He stops moving too soon, and it's CLG that crushed both of the rotators before they can do absolutely anything at all.
Wow. So now Misfits are pretty much in the same boat that we saw them in before. This is a very, very close game. But that pop flash sight, man, that's so brutal. When you're an A site player on CT side and that flash comes and you're out of position, you're just dead every single time. It's so difficult to avoid. Kusta really making the play, though, to win that round. Sean threw that smoke. For some reason, he tried throwing it so deep, and it didn't even do anything. That smoke was entirely useless, essentially. It didn't stop them from taking any type of, you know, going up the steps. It didn't cover anything. Kusta just runs forward and shoots him in the back. So that was a huge blunder by Sean and kind of led to the downfall of that round.
Still sitting back here waiting again. They walk into A main, but Sick not being cautious of the fact that there could have been someone boosted up, especially with how quickly CLG have been moving in and taking mid control for free on every single round. So losing his life there, they take out another player instead of Z. That's already free A control for them. Initially, they were going to push itself into B, so they had the good read on it at the start, but now it's all gone awry. Thankfully, this is a full save, so it's not too big of a loss for Misfits, but this close to the end of the game, every loss is one that will matter here, as CLG are basically now just on cleanup duty. Shazam, the last man standing, but probably not going to be that way for much longer. CLG probably going to be looking at a 5-man alive victory here to tie the game up.
Yeah, and this is as close as it gets. I mean, 14-14. I'm not sure if Misfits is even going to tie here. I don't know what their money's looking like. They might just concede the game point, right? And give them 15-15.
3,600 is the most they have.
Yeah.
So if they were to force, it would not be an impressive one, and it does look like they are just going to concede to half by here and see if they can make anything work with that. Armor pickups with upgraded pistols, and actually most aren't even going to buy armor behind the pistol here. We can see Shazam and Sean. There's a late purchase from Relix as he does go for armor, but Sean's going with utility. Most are just going for the 5.7 CZs, and Shazam, of course, saving a little bit more to try and work with the op on that final round. He's just going to work with a P250 here. And the defenses are still spread 3-2 across the map with no presence in mid. So if CLG want to walk right out and get control again, well, they're certainly going to have an easy time of doing that.
Yeah, and I think if CLG does win this game, I think it's a bit more impressive than the, 4 maps that they've won earlier on in the season. I think Misfits is the toughest opponent that they've played so far. But Misfits, if they do drop, like, even trading a map from CLG right now, or if they lose this, or if they lose O2, I think that's a big disappointment. I think we were looking at Misfits to be a little bit better than CLG, but, it's looking like CLG is definitely having an advantage right now.
Well, Sick grabbing a first kill. They also have one isolated inside of Alina. That's going to be Finesse going down. It's brought to a 3v3. Sick has a good angle initially, but Ricky going off right now here, being able to hold on for CLG in this round. And Kusta there too, swinging around, looking for the shot. Not able to find it just yet. Also barely getting tagged down. He just survives it as he hugs the wall, praying that they don't spray him through that panel there. So just 2 alive for Misfits. And now that the bomb has gone down onto the ground, and they, again, really don't have any utility to retake this with, this is going to be rough. I do think, however, they are going to attempt this since there isn't really much to save in the situation. Twist having the armor to try and pick up with. Sean's flashing back in and unfortunately flashes himself, so that kind of kills that. So, but I think the tease is Flash Cutler too, so it's not all bad. Sean's going to push himself back in here, and Cutler takes him down pretty quickly. So for Twist, there isn't much to be done. Working with a USP now. He had a CZ a moment ago, I think. So he's going to fall back here around the corner. And Wolf try to save that.
Yeah, maybe he ran out of bullets or something. I'm not sure why he would have half armor, but, you know, no pistol accompanying it. But yeah.
I think he's looking for it. There it is.
Yeah,
no
right bullets. All right, so we do see a pause coming out. And one thing that I think you need to do, if you're CLG, when you play against Misfits like this, you saw during the anti-ecos, they would let like Twist or Sick, and they would kind of scout something out. And it gave them information every single time, because CLG pretty much played most anti-ecos where they'd stack something, right? And Misfits is doing the same thing. As we're seeing, yeah, man, Slimmy, you're having a rough one out here. No, but when you're playing against anti-ecos against both those teams, they opt to like stack sites. And I'm a little bit surprised that they don't realize that about each other. It seems like Sean Garris kind of realizes that about CLG, and he's sending like a solo scout, right? But FNS should look back at this and be like, okay, next time we play Misfits, it seems like every anti-eco, they're really overplaying somewhere, right? So if we just simply send a scout somewhere, and he's competent enough to get that info, we should be able to go, run over a site for free. Instead, these anti-eco rounds that they're playing against Misfits, they lost one at B, right, where he couldn't plant the bomb at the end in the 1v1 and ran out of time. Or in the 2v1, excuse me. And then every single time they're losing a lot of members. So I think that's something that they could look at and go into this next map and be like, hey, we're doing these anti-ecos a lot, wrong. Just wrong, right? Their anti-ecos would work great if people are playing like a default type setup where it's like a 2-1-2, but they're not. They're just stacking sites against them. So, learn from that and kind of switch it up.
Well, for those of you who have been with us, it's going to come down to round number 30 here, and Kusta missing the full connection on his first shot there. He does actually hit Shazam, but it's through the wall, so it only brings him down to 28 HP. He's given plenty of time to respond to that, and will very quickly take down Kusta, bringing us into a 5v4, with Misfits having the advantage and the possibility to send us to overtime if they follow through. But for CLG, they certainly won't be giving up. Again, mid control has been really easy for them up to this point, but Sick finally puts himself in a position to hold Z and actually contest this mid play, but he only pushes out for 1 kill before being traded. That's not necessarily bad, though, as they still have a 4v3, and now with that mid control, Ethan can be a force to be reckoned with as they send the bomb back to push itself into the A site.
Yeah, and I would take that, just because not only did he get a kill, but he gave 85 to Ricky, so I think that was worth it. But I'm not sure if Kusta's play was worth it. I know he actually got the first bullet off, and he lagged him as the push is coming onto A. And Relics is, killing Ethan there. Sean Garris has highway control, and only 15 HP on Ricky.
And it is looking likely that we will go to overtime here, ladies and gentlemen. CLG falter in the last round needed to try and close back out, unless Ricky can pull off a miracle 1v4 here. It will certainly indeed push itself to it. And there's the shot from Twist to close it. So tie game at 15 rounds, and so we will go to overtime. It'll be standard format in case anyone is curious about that. It is MR3 10K starting money. A sequence of 6 rounds is going to be played out, and you need to win at least 4 of them to be able to take the map. If both teams tie at 3, then we restart it and do it all over again.
Wow, so Ricky in his debut, 104 DAR and 27 and 18. Cutler, I didn't realize these players had so many kills, but 28-17, 27-18, so playing pretty lights out. Shazam has been, I think statistically, maybe the best player in Pro League so far this season, if I'm not mistaken.
One of the better. It might be just best opper or something like that.
Okay, well, on Misfits, I know he has the highest number of kills and the least number of deaths, right? And he's definitely performing very well for Misfits, but struggling here. 55 ADR, and what have we seen from him on the CT side? Like, have we seen him get aggressive? I think he might have got aggressive door one round.
I think that was in CLG.
I think
side.
that was
Kusta. That was Kusta doing that.
No, I think that was Twist.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. It wasn't Shazam.
I mean, what type of aggression have we seen from him, really? Like, going for, like, a pick on riflers or anything like that, it's just so static from him. I think on CG side, he was just mid pretty much every single round. And that's the kind of things where, when I look at this Misfits team, I say, okay, maybe they'll be able to beat CLG, right? but even then, it's very, very close. But are they really going to beat, you know, Cloud9 or take a map off SK or take maps off Immortals or Liquid or even Optic for that, in that matter? Because when you just let these people do what they want and you don't make them uncomfortable, when you play at this level, a lot of the better teams, they know how to stop. They know how to just take control of middle, and then if you don't do anything across the other side of the map and you let them do whatever, they're going to win the round. They're going to pinch on you at A. They're going to trade kills properly, and they're going to win any type of 3v2 or 2v2 post plant, you know? So it's questionable setups from Misfits, in my opinion. CLG, on the other hand, I see them, you know, changing their setup, adapting it a bit, overplaying sites when Misfits is hitting them, but individually, a lot of the time, not able to get the kills and capitalize off their great positioning.
Well, it is time to now get into overtime here, ladies and gentlemen. 15 all to both teams here, as our first map already has shown itself to be incredibly competitive this evening. But getting into it here, nothing too crazy in terms of the investments from either team. It's fairly standard. 4 AKs and an op, or 4 M4s and an op on the CT side. Essentially the same exact buys as we do take a look at it across the map here, but obviously, immediately on the Misfits side of things, we can see a much stronger attempt to hold on to mid, where previously they'd just been giving it up on many rounds against CLG here. They just let them took it. Now, they not only have Shazam watching out for it here on top of the white box, but they have sick position over here in the vent. So this is a good change-up where previously CLG were being allowed to take this for free every single round, and they could do whatever they wanted with it. And as we take a look at CLG themselves, well, they spread out into a default, so we're not going to see anything super special from them. Sick did actually give it that vent position, and Ricky missed a small opportunity to try and take him down on the dropout, but nothing too big there. Spray pattern coming back out through that main Checkers entryway and does a little bit of damage to Kusta, but
Such a poor smoke, though. I mean, that could easily be abused. But you know what? Maybe they did it on purpose because it is an A retake, right? So you make it look like, oh, hey, the B site's so easy to take. Look at this terrible smoke that we threw, but then you have 3 people there. I think I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I think it was just a botched smoke, to be honest. But, you know, they go into a default setup just every round it seems like their default setup.
well, it seems to have brought the attention over to B regardless here, as they are going to be pushing back in for it. And currently, Twist is focusing on getting the utility up, which is leaving Sean to defend solo. Not only this, but Twist missing all of his shots. So it's Ethan grabbing both of the entry kills. They clear out the B bomb site, and Sick, well, there's nothing really left for him to do there. If he peeks heaven, he's more than likely a dead man, and the rest of his teammates are out of position. I don't even think they're going to attempt this. Keep in mind, again, the CT side is a bit unforgiving with the utility at 10K start money, so saving is not necessarily going to be out of the question, and that is what, indeed, they decide to do. They're going to give this one up and let CLG go up to 16.
Yeah, and Cutler knows about this, and he's hunting really early on. They definitely should try to hunt as much as possible right now. But again, you know, they showed him a little bit of a different look, but it just doesn't make any sense, right? They have 3 towards B, but they don't try to get aggressive at all or anything like that. They just kind of say, okay, we have 3 B in the start, but then we're going to go back into a default setup, 2-1-2.
Well, already hunting down one of the 3 remaining guns. The last 2 hiding out over here inside of the squeaky hallway. Sick and Shazam flying it out here, and Sick specifically sitting behind the door, which means he's going to get challenged them all, but he has them both lined up, so he will be able to survive. And those 2 rifles will maintain heading into this next round.
Yeah, the B hold was not well coordinated at all. Their mollies came far too late. Twist, in my opinion, wasted his smoke. I think it's a lot better to use. I think it's a lot better for that B player to keep his smoke, and then if a molly take comes, he's able to kind of. There's a lot of really tricky one-ways that you can kind of do in the site. You can even smoke off the headshot, and then when he pushes into it, like their legs, you just see him, and it's the freest kill ever. But, you know, they kind of just waste their utility. They don't use it properly, and CLG just bullies them. They just run up on them super quickly, and their nades are behind them. And once you get into that mini pit, if that guy's at default, it's a pretty easy kill.
It's Shazam sitting back here. Actually noticed it a bit late, but well, he'll spot the second player there now. He saw the first one, got the correction onto the second. Kusta will still trade it a kill, but it's Sick holding off here on A that will defend things very nicely against the push from CLG, the actual push, I should say. Now you've got Ricky waiting out, still has the door open by Squeaky, but Kusta pretty detached from this action as he still had to rotate over there from those B halls, watching out for mid. Is going to try to take a position there leading up to more than likely Highway, but the defenses here on A are still strong, and even leading into Z there. Unfortunately, that is not going to be too strong of a push. Sick just shift walking out towards Z. It's a very easy shot for Kusta to be able to sink. Now you're looking at Relics, watching a lot more towards Highway. Hasn't even noticed yet that one of his opponents has snuck right out onto the site, which is going to lead into quite a comical kill as Ricky just walked right out. notices Relic sitting there and gets him for free. Now we're in 2v2 all of a sudden. Kusted is waiting for this cross. He does hit him, but it's not a full kill. It only brings him down to 15 HP. Now more going to be pushing back out. He does finish the job there. One more to go, and Kusted's going to grab that one too. Twist and Sean both go down, and somehow CLG turn that back around in their favor.
I don't know why Six peeking middle there. I know he has 13 health and maybe wants to finish off the round or something, but he put, I believe it was Relics that was boosting the site in a tough spot, believe it or not. I mean, generally that spot is a really good spot, but you usually have somebody kind of bait for you, kind of make them look towards you. Ricky just comes out, he sees nothing for so long. He just has so much time to just check any corner, and then Kusta in the middle, just great job by him to close out the round, but very good awareness by Ricky there. And I don't know why Sick was pushing middle in that scenario. It's just unnecessary.
Well, now we do have Misfits again spread across the map here in a pretty scratched together buy on the third round. Essentially zero utility beyond a few smokes and whatnot, which for the most part they have already deployed. HG and some random flashbangs, but even the gunpowder, the UMP, a shotgun coming into the works here too. Sick. There's going to be quite a few players in there. If you do decide to go for that one, Relics is end up peeking it with a nade in hand. Free kill for Ricky as they do push back in, and Sick in the corner's not going to get anything done either. Shazam being able to sink in one at least as Ricky does cross out towards A-Main, but there's a lot more to go to recover, and he's being just destroyed by nades currently. Twist finding one more kill, but FNS trades it with a frag onto Shazam. Kusta grabbing another one against Sean, and it's Twist left alive as the last mid standing. In a 1v3 scenario, he does pick up the first one, and they were both lined up. In fact, there was a team kill onto one of them there at the very end, but half's going to reset in a second. Anyways, that doesn't really matter too much. FNS does close it out, and CLG are now going to have 3 match points to try and close this one out.
Yeah, and we'll see what type of strategy CLG implements on the CT side. I think whenever you go into overtime and you win like 3 rounds in a row, you could really just kind of take a bit of a risk, right? You know, maybe throwing smokes at A, right? Nading like the back A main box, and then just doing like a complete retake or something, and just hoping they hit B in middle first before, you know, or if they are going to hit A, they hit mid first, and then you can get like 2 kills for free and bring it into a 3v5, and you have a super quick B rotate. Basically, take like a risk like that, right? Because you could be like, all right, first round, we could just take a pretty big risk and put it like 50-50, and if we don't win it, then we could just keep our guns going into the next round and make sure we could buy the second and third round as well, and just have like a 50% chance of winning that round, right? Kind of use that mentality. I really like doing that on overtime, or if you're up like 15-10 or something like that, a lot of the time you could do it as well. Or like, you know, if you go on Dust 2 and you have a really big T side, then you go to the CT side and you're like, all right, we only need to win 2 gun rounds, guys. Let's, you know, put like a guy boosted on the CT spawn box, 2 guys long, kind of give up CAD or something like that, and then 2 guys B side. If they go mid B, you win. If they do an 8 split where they go out long first, then you probably win, right? You know, kind of that mentality. But we'll see. Kusta grabbing an op, everybody else just on rifles. You notice they all use silenced M4s.
Second half now of OT beginning with CLG having the penultimate advantage here. Misfits will have no way to even push this to an an ultimate victory here in this OT. They'll have to take it to double overtime and then win it out there. And it would have to be a 3-round streak for them to be able to accomplish that. And they're back on their T side, where for a large portion of regulation time, it was CLG controlling the playing field. The good news is that things did shift a little bit towards the end of the half there, where Misfits did start to take a bit more control, figured out how to counter out CLG's defenses. And that's where we saw a lot of their rounds coming in to actually make it an 8-7 half. But now they need to be able to carry that back in once more and execute upon it here to be able to take 3 rounds straight, as they are just going for what will appear to be more than likely a direct A play. And we already saw a lot of these from CLG, and that became part of their problem, is they became very easy to read. And even just looking at the defenses here for CLG, they have a lot prepared to counter this back out. Even in mid, if they do try to boost over that, they have, I believe it's Ricky sitting over on the counter boost. He's going to spot this, but he spots it too late. In fact, he was focused on the A garage, so they'll pick up 2 kills right there. Cutler and Ricky already been deleted, and there's a perfect flashbang, so Sick can walk right up, has all the time in the world to find that kill. He does get traded back out on the re-peek against Ethan, but still, the damage has been done. Kusta's so far detached from this action. There's absolutely nothing they're going to be able to do, and in a moment, as we see right there, Shazam's going to walk right up with a pistol, shut down Ethan, and now Kusta is the only one that can save with an op.
Yeah, and he does need to save, and you know, Misfits just throwing, it looked like maybe a little bit of an A fake, and then they go out boost. Ricky kind of getting caught. You know, I think he sees like the barrel of Shazam's gun, so he's kind of focused on that, and then Sick comes out the boost and gets a really easy kill on him. But the point I'm trying to make is, so first round of overtime, say you kind of stack something, right? You have like let's say you have 50% chance of winning that round, right? If you can at least like feign pressure at the other side, right? Or if it's a calculated death, maybe it's a little bit more. Now, if they go to the other site and you're able to save your guns, then all of a sudden you're going to have guns for the second and third round. Now, if you play it straight up that first round and you lose the first 2 rounds, then that third round, I think you have way under a 50% chance to win the round, most likely, if you lose those guns, right? So it's like you kind of hedge your bets a little bit. Does that make sense, what I'm saying? All right, I hope so.
I said yeah. So as CLG do get into one of their last and big investments here, if they do end up losing a second one in a row, making it a lot easier, as you mentioned there, for Misfits to be able to try and close back out. We will see them spreading out across the map again into the default pattern. CLG, no sign of them getting really aggressive just yet. They have Kusta positioned pretty close up, actually, specifically for an Opper over here on mid, but he does fall back against that pretty quickly, as we would generally expect. He'll just hang out over here behind the white box and wait to see if any additional pressure flows back in, which may be the case since everything worked out really well for Misfits in the last round here. Basically, everything they tried in the round itself worked out, especially their mid control. So they certainly may want to try to go for it again. This time, though, there's no close hold from Ricky. He's changed up his position, and he's now back in towards B, where he actually had a lot of success back on regulation CT side for CLG. So putting him back in there certainly could prove to be a good thing. Cover up smokes will make it look like that they are going to be going directly over to the vents, but Kusta is just out in the open, and that is going to allow for Shazam to grab a very easy kill. Ricky, though, is here for 2 more as he trades back in. Cutler, of course, assisting from down below. Ricky, though, is caught crossing, as is Shazam, or Cutler, excuse me, with a nade in hand. Shazam is going to be the one that grabs that kill, and all of a sudden, CLG were looking great, but now they're at a disadvantage. They have no additional presence in the B-bomb site. Not only this, too, but Finesse still has to lurk himself over here to get into the vents, and Relics will be watching out for that if he goes back in. He's kind of doing double duty, but Twist is going to push back in. Finesse holding for that one. There's still 1 more to go from down below. He sees it, but is not able to react in time. So, Ethan, you've got a 1v2 in front of you. Didn't even realize that Shazam was sitting out on the platform. He's going to sink another easy shot for a 3K on the round, and now we're within 1 round of taking this to double OT.
Yeah, it's looking like pretty, you know, favored for double OT here. As look at the buy. I mean, they do have off on Kusa. He played that really poorly though when those double mid smokes happened. You never want to, like, that's what the player boosted with an op wants you to do. Whenever those double mid smokes happen, you see Z so easily when you're boosted on that white box. It's a really easy kill on that opper. It's a very T-sided shot, and he just plays right into it, just trying to do too much.
Well, they've kind of been getting wrecked by a boost at every single turn so far here in this half so far, and it may happen again. As Shazam is watching for anyone over here on the CT side to go for a counter boost. Cutler will be the one to push for it if he decides to follow through with this one, and Shazam, I believe, is still watching out for that position currently. Eyes completely gazed on that one, as the rest of this T side is positioned into essentially just the default here. Molly's even going to go back out, so Cutler has no chance to fall back currently here. More Mollies. They're going to fireball, but look at this timing. It works out great for him. He can jump in there to find the first kill, but now he's stuck here. He does have to wait back out, and they know that there too, but still, no one looking out for it. And oh, Relics, good recovery to be able to take down Cutler. He almost got that kill, though. In fact, Relics survives with just a single point of health. Now, though, there's a lot more of the players from CLG positioned here in mid to hang on to it, and again, they dink another player down to 7 HP. The same has been returned onto Ethan, though, as he's also very low at 29. But even as 1 more of the CTs gets knocked out, more damage is done to Twist. He's down at 20, and along with Sick and Relics at 1, they only have a single player that's at full HP. Easy frags for Ricky as they do push their way back in. That's Sick and Twist getting finished back off, and the last 2 are just going to try to push their way into the B halls. Ethan will be assisting Ricky here in the bomb site. Kusta still focusing on A, but he's also back by Truck, which is going to be the quickest rotate over there from that site. Now they try to push back in. Ricky has seen it, so they should call for Kusta at any moment. In fact, here he comes now, but Sean sinks his kill, but immediately we see Ethan finding the trade. There's only 8 seconds left as well, and Sean having to leap through the Molotov to be able to get this bomb on the site in time. Just barely succeeds, but now he's down at 41, and Kusta finds the final shot of the round, and that is going to be it. CLG will take it in the final round of the first overtime. 19-17 is going to be the final score, and what a chaotic round for us to end it on.
I mean, I don't get it, man. They have like 4 Molotovs to use. They obviously knew that he was there on the boost, and they kind of failed that spot, right? But then the real question mark, like that, I kind of understand, just like miscommunication, right? But the 2 players go through the checkers and fight this guy at B while the 2 guys are running back towards middle and are like 7 seconds behind him. It just made no sense at all. It's like, why would you go so separate like that? You send 2 players into B from checkers with 12 HP combined, and then the other 2 guys are 8 seconds late. They can't capitalize. If those guys hit it together, Ricky dies like 100%.
Yep.
You know, he pushes through the smoke. Yeah, maybe he kills both of them at checkers, but he gets traded instantly by the guys B main. You know, best case scenario for Ricky. That was very, very confusing for me, why they decided to split up so much like that.
All right, well, to discuss more here on map number 1, we are going to send it over to our analysis desk. So, Stunna, take it away.
Thank you, Blue. Well,
I mean, I was hoping for answers coming out of this game. I just got more questions. That's
fair enough. I mean, that's not a good way, it's not a bad way to start off this segment. I mean, obviously 19-17 right there, CLG coming out over the Misfits. I don't think we could have forecasted it being that close of a game, though.
No, I was expecting way more out of Misfits, honestly. And, you know, as the second half started off, I was, you know, getting ready to give credit to Misfits for how they were playing their CT sides. The initial A main aggression, they were actually keeping tabs on mid, which is something CLG didn't do for the better part of their first half on their CT side. And then after having 2 incidents, first off, Sean getting caught out in A main after throwing a missed smoke, and then getting basically caught out by the boost that Nate and Cutler does in mid. After that, they completely went away from it. And Misfits' just passive hold on both sides were absolutely terrible. Just completely awful. And I think Dazed alluded to that as well. You could especially on that B bomb site where Twists and Sean was working together, you'd see so many weird decisions made in terms of how they would use utility, because they're playing passive, so you have to play reactively. And it was like they were hanging on a 2-second delay the entire time whenever they threw a Molotov or smoke down onto the bomb site. So a lot of questions for me regarding that Misfits team.
Okay, a set of questions for this one. How about you give us some answers for what you see here? We're going to load up round 9. We're going to see a failed retake here from Counter Logic Gaming. Walk us through this one.
Yeah, so this is going to be the big swing round, really, that gets Misfits back into the round. You can see Sean already making his way here on top of the rafters. And the reason why he's not spotted is because Nate got flashed by Relics the second Sean Garris jumps up. So that's nicely timed by Misfits. Obviously, might be a bit of a coincidence in that sense, but in this scenario, you see that there's still plenty of utility left on CLG's side. They don't really utilize it all that much to actually close off any sort of angles that they might have to worry about or anything like that. They just kind of go in dry, and that doesn't really work out, especially with Sean getting into that advantageous position on highway. That kind of seals it for Misfits, simply because Nate obviously figures, or Ethan obviously figures that that's cleared out. He's just been there, hasn't seen a single person, and that sets up a really nice crossfire for Misfits to abuse.
Can't really ever go in dry. It's just not something you're supposed to do.
It's not appreciated.
Yeah, it's not appreciated. But what you can do is, if you're CLG, rock that double op setup over there on CT side. We did see that come out from Ricky, and we did see Kusta with AWP. Pretty effective.
Yeah, and I was actually very surprised by how well Ricky was getting off to the start on B just before he even got his hands on an op as well. Like, he was doing really well for himself with the rifle towards B. They ended up changing positions quite a lot. Actually, I would say that CLG CT side was very proactive in that sense. They were moving a lot more, even though they kind of neglected mid for a better part of it. They were actually very active about changing up positions and doing different things, which is nice to see. So it seems like they've made some proper effort to actually getting Ricky into a comfortable spot on the team.
Okay, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to see if Sean Garris and the Misfits can overcome FNS and CLG on Inferno. We'll be right back after this.
I can't understand people watching somebody play a computer game.